Thank you all for tuning in once again to Ken's TV. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, definitely share it. Prison can be a very, very scary place. A lot of times, man, in these rap videos and these movies and things of that nature, they make prison out to be a lot of times what it's really not. But the one thing that I do agree with, prison can be a very, very scary place. Now, for you all that don't know, which is a good thing, you never been there, they have different levels. And I'm in Kentucky, so I don't know, different states. It's all the same, it's just different terminology. Here, you go to a camp, which means you're nonviolent most of the time. Usually you got less than 4 years to have a chance of going home. You know what I mean? So when I say have a chance of going home, which means you have less than 4 years to serve your sentence out, or you have less than 4 years to see the parole board, which gives you an opportunity to go home. A lot of times you get sent behind a fence. That's medium, maximum security. When you're at a camp, there's no fence. So you could easily just walk off. There's literally no fence. But you're a low-level inmate, so a lot of times, you're not really trying to escape, although you do see idiots run off. But we'll get to that another day. Nevertheless, I'm going to tell you about an experience, man. I was at a prison. Don't want to say the prison name. I get there. The first day I get there, you go through a process of where they go through your property, your belongings, anything that you have, because just because you had it at the last place, it doesn't mean that you're allowed to have it at this particular place. So we get there, you're going through our property or what have you. Well, they find some baby oil. They tell me you're not allowed to have baby oil. So I'm like, man, you can't have baby oil? So I'm like, okay. But the guy was cool. He was like, man, just throw it away. No big deal. I take the baby oil. I ended up putting it back in my bag. Instead of throwing it away like I was told to do, I kept the baby oil anyway. So they went through our property. They halfway go through the property because it was like 16 of us, and it was already probably like 2:30 in the afternoon. They get off at 4. So they ready to go home. So the baby oil slides in. Now, everything's all good, man. I didn't, when I get to this prison, I got cool with a guy. Really just on the bus ride there. On the bus ride there, because it was like a 4-hour bus ride. So we got cool, and, the first month, everything was all good, man. We ate together. We wasn't in the same cell together, but, we'd meet up when it was time to go eat, work out together. Now, we play a little basketball, but this dude was like 6'7". 6'7", about 280, was a monster. Come to find out, he was an MMA fighter. He was a pro fighter. Now, he wasn't, like, known by everybody. People in his area, his town, they knew him, but, like, he wasn't, like, a known household name. So, we was cool or whatever. We used to always walk the track. They have a track. Most prisons have a large track. And a lot of times you just see the inmates, man, they'll have cups in their hands or whatever. They got their coffees, whatever they may be drinking, and they walk in the tracks, man. So we call it the loop. We walk in the loop. I had another partner that's from my hometown. I tell you, the MMA fighter, I'll call him the MMA fighter because I don't want to use his name. He did not like my homeboy. For some reason, I don't know what the issue was. Now, my homeboy had a 25-year sentence at 85%. So that means he had to do at least 85% of that 25 years before he has a chance of, before he goes home, basically. Because once he does 85% of 25 years, he's pretty much served his sentence out anyway, for the most part. So nevertheless, we were all walking one day, and the MMA fighter sees 3 white guys over there, and they're training, but it's like they're doing calisthenics. So he's like, come on, y'all can do better than that. So the 3 white dudes was like, yeah, won't you come over and get some then, tough guy? So I'm telling the MMA fighter, my partner, I'm like, hey, man, let that go, man. You know what I'm saying? Let that go. Because he had a 15-year sentence, which means you go up for parole where I'm at, as long as it's considered non-violent, you go up for parole in 20% of your time. So he had to do 3 years before he had a chance to, go for parole and possibly go home. Excuse me. So, he's chirping back and forth. I'm telling him, man, let that go, man. You got kids to get home to, man. You trying to get out of here. You ain't trying to extend your stay. Everything was cool. So I thought. Mind you, like I said earlier, this is a huge track. Anybody in prison, or that's been to prison rather, they know that those tracks are huge. It's the biggest track I've ever seen. So we continue to walk the track or whatever. Now, once we get to the entrance part, when I say the entrance part, that's where like you come out from your dorms at, and they have like the tables, everybody sitting there playing chess, dominoes, spades. Some people just sitting there just kicking it. That's where all like the little lounging area is at. We get to the lounging area. The MMA fighter decides he got a problem with me. So, he says a couple words. I say a couple words. So he walks over towards the door because it's fenced in. So it's fenced in like there's gates. You see what I'm saying? So he walks over like inside of the gates. I'm sitting there talking to my homeboy, but we're not even talking about that at this point. Next thing I know, he was like, I will hurt you. They called me Lex. So I see him screaming across we're probably a good, I don't know, maybe 100 feet apart. He's like, I will hurt you. I will crush you. And I'm like looking around like, so he's pointing at me. So then he starts walking towards me. Now, keep in mind, this dude is 6'7", 270, 280, every bit of it, solid. One of the biggest human beings I've ever, he looked like a defensive lineman in the NFL, man. A defensive end, rather. So he's walking towards me. So when he's walking towards me, I'm like, oh, shit. Because, you can tell body language. You could tell by his tone. You could tell by the look in his face. You could tell by just the way he was walking. He wasn't walking over to talk. Now, I'm in a medium security prison because there's not too many maximum security prisons in Kentucky. So, medium as far as state. Federal is a totally different story. But as far as if you're doing state time, there's not too many, it's pretty much as high as it goes with the exception of 1 or 2 prisons. So he's walking towards me. I'm like, oh, shit. So the closer he gets, I realize he has an aggressive walk, when he's coming towards me. So I'm like, man, I'm nothing but about 5'9" at best. Like I said, this dude's like 6'7", no exaggerating, maybe a little taller. So what I do is, once I understand that we're going to have to fight, I call myself timing my step, my punch. So as he was walking, I stepped directly into his line of fire. I didn't mean to, but I stepped because I caught myself trying to get the first one off. His arms are way longer than me. Man, that boy hit me, bow. Man, I seen stars, man. Once I learned how to do my editing, I'm going to put little star things around my head. You know what I'm saying? I seen stars. So when he hit me, I go down to one knee. He could have demolished me if he wanted to. My homeboy didn't do nothing. He just sit there. Come on, man, y'all chill out. Yeah, it's always y'all. Y'all chill out. Y'all chill out. So he's kind of hovering over top of me, but I think what happened was he realized, like, man, we was cool, So, all right, cool. He leaves. I get my wits back together. He didn't knock me out, but he hit me pretty solid, man. MMA fighter. Everybody's looking or whatever. But they seen me. I swung first. So, you know what I'm saying? It ain't nobody just sitting around like, oh, man, he got whooped. He got knocked because I swung first. They seen, but damn, this dude's a gorilla, man. So I say, okay, that's what we doing. About 5 minutes later, I go to my cell. I'm in the cell with a dude that got a life sentence, plus 20. Literally, a life sentence. Well, he from my hometown, too. We don't really know each other. I know his brothers, but we don't really know each other. I say, hey, man, let me use your hot pot real quick. Hot pot is what you use. They sell in prison. You can boil your hot water. So if you want to drink you some coffee, and there's ways to cook in the hot pot too. If you got some chicken or something you want warmed up, you put it in a potato chip bag, wrap it up real tight, put it in the hot pot. It warms it up so you don't got to use a microwave. A lot of people, they use their hot pot and they never even leave the cell because their microwaves outside the cell. So nevertheless, he was like, yeah, go ahead, man. So I'm boiling the water. I ain't even tell him what happened. I'm boiling the water. I get my baby oil. That I snuck in, and he sees me with the baby oil. What I'm doing is I'm putting the baby oil in the boiling water because I done already made my mind up. Man, I'm going to dude's door, and I'm going to throw his hot water with baby oil in it in his face. I'm going to peel his whole face off. So he seen me. He was like, what you doing with that? Told him what happened. I said, man, nah, man, dude, such and such I'll be walking with. He was like, that's your partner, right? I said, man, this dude swung on me, man, hit me. He was like, man, give me that baby oil before you sitting in here with me and have a life sentence the same way I got. So I'm like, nah, man. You know what I'm saying? He laid his hands on me, man. The dude's a monster. He's a gorilla. You know, we ain't going to fight fair. Ain't going to be a fair one. You know what I'm saying? A fair exchange, what they say, a fair exchange ain't never been considered a robbery. So that's the way I looked at it. I was trying to peel his whole face back. You know what I'm saying? So he talked me out, man, give me his hot pot, man. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to do it, man. You don't want to do it. You going home in a few years. You know, I still had, probably 2.5, 3 years. You going home, man. If you do it, man, you might not ever get out of here. Because they're going to hit you with an assault charge, maybe attempted murder. They gonna hit you with a hell of a charge, and you ain't never gonna go home. It's gonna be a long time before you go home, rather. So he takes the baby oil, or he takes the hot pot, or whatever. Next thing I know, probably about, I don't know, I walk back outside. I grab me 2 pens. I ain't have no knife. I grab me 2 pens. Like, it's the best I can do. If he run up on me, I'm gonna stab him with these ink pens. I snuck my ink pens in. Typically, they give you these little rubbery ink pens that just have like the rubber material and they're real skinny, and it just has like the pen part at the bottom, but you can't really stab. Man, I had 5 or 6 ink pens. So I grabbed 2 of them. I said, okay, I'm gonna go back out to the day room. The day room's like where you got the tables, they play poker, spades, whatever, the dominoes, whatever. They got the TVs. So I'm out at the day room. So I see him come down. He's like, hey man, Lex, let me holler at you. I go over to him. He's like, look, man, I apologize for that. I ain't on that. You know what I'm saying? I was wrong. I had a bad day today. I took my aggression out on you, but really it wasn't about you. You know I don't like dude. So really it was about him, but I took it out on you. You see what I'm saying? I apologize, man. Now, if you don't accept my apology, we can do whatever. If that's what you choose to do, I understand it. But you my partner, man. We've been kicking it every day, hanging, and I shouldn't have done that. And I'm sitting at the table and I'm just looking at him. And really in my head, in my mind, it's like a sigh of relief. Because I'm like, damn, this big son bitch, man, he was going to be hard to take out. I'm trying to tell you, if you seen how big he was, man, and was tough. He was tough. He used to go hit the punching bag every day, kick the bag. People would be trying to pay him to teach them MMA. Like, dude was legitimate. You know what I'm saying? So basically, there's a couple morals of the story. Prison is a very, very dangerous place, man. That's why you don't play in prison. A lot of people play games. They play the sex games. They, damn, you looking good today. You know what I'm saying? Or they just joking or whatever. But you don't do that in prison because you never know. Y'all might be joking today, but tomorrow this person done got a bad phone call. He ain't heard from his girl. Somebody done passed away. He done got flopped by the parole board, which means you thought you had a chance to go home and you go see the parole board and They tell you, come back and see us in 36 more months. You know, just all type of things that can happen. And it's just like, you shouldn't play in prison. You see what I'm saying? You definitely shouldn't play games in prison. So, with that being said, the guy that was my cellie, that was my cellmate, I believe he saved me from getting a lot of time. Because it was made up in my mind, man. That boiling hot water with that baby oil was getting thrown in dude's face, man. Wasn't no thinking about it, wasn't no... And to this day, I'm so thankful that he did that and talked me out of that. Because I'd still be locked up. This was 2012, maybe. 2013. I'd still be locked up, man. So sometimes you got to learn to just let things go. Not let your anger get the best of you. You know, and live to see another day. That's all you can do, man. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Hopefully y'all share this message for me. Because it's definitely a message. You know, these youngsters out here acting like they invincible. Once you get behind them walls and them gates, and especially if you ain't got no homeboys, you can really be messed around, man. And get yourself in a situation that you can't get yourself out of. Till next time.